You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and this is a conversation with Erin Gooden. Erin is an outstanding bass guitarist in a band from Perth called Legs Electric. The reason for the conversation is to promote Legs Electric's brand new EP called Two Sides. Let's hear what she has to say. Here we go.
Oh, okay, no worries. As long as you can hear me clearly and all that, that's good.
I can indeed. What's been happening for you?
Oh, so much. We've just had a lot happen leading up to our EP launch this weekend at the Indie Bar. So we've got interviews and articles being published on the web every day. We just have this flurry of activity happening at the moment. So we're really excited. We've got lots happening. So what else? We're doing lots of rehearsals for our tour, which is starting in about 2 weeks. We leave on Wednesday and we go East Coast for a couple of days. So we're just cramming in as much as we can.
Yeah, well, look, I reckon you have about the best named band I've come across in years. I mean, first question would be, how is it not taken? I mean, of course, you can't answer that, I suppose, but where did you get the idea for the name, the band name?
Well, when I asked the girls when I joined them, I think it was just a play on words with like Legs 11.
Uh-huh,
so, you know, the term used in like, I don't know, I think gaming or something.
Yeah, roulette, I think it is. I could be wrong, but I
yeah,
think it's
like
roulette.
Something, when someone says Legs 11, you know, that's, I don't know, you're in luck, I don't know. So, yeah, it's a funny one because I'm not too sure about how they came up with it. But, yeah, I'd say it's fairly unique for a band name.
Yeah, it's a great band name and it really suits. You know, it's one of those names that really jumps out at you. You know, when you're looking at a list of bands that are performing at a local venue, it's that name that really jumps out at you, and names are really important.
I think it's just a little bit, it's a little bit different. Obviously, you kind of think legs, and then you think, like, what's that all about? And, you know, so, I mean, I can't say I've got great legs. I'm a midget.
Well, you got something going for you though. As am I. You're a bass guitarist, so congratulations on choosing the 4-string.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes, bass is my weapon of choice. So, I mean, I love playing. I've been playing for a while now. Started out being self-taught, and then I started to polish up my skills and over the years. So, I finally found a band that I really enjoy playing bass in. So,
and you play a pretty wicked-looking SG bass.
I do.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
I'd love to get my hands on a vintage, one of the original EB3s, but unfortunately, I've got a new one a couple of years ago, so it's my baby. I don't think I'll let go of it for a long time.
Is that active or is it a passive bass?
It's a passive bass.
Okay, so you can hit it a little bit harder, and it doesn't do that clunk thing that the active pickup basses do. Like I've got 4 Music Man basses,
not really.
And if I hit them too hard, which I often do because I play covers, so I end up playing for 4 or 5 hours each night when I'm playing. And by the end of the night, you know, it's not that you get sloppy, but you've been playing for a long time, so you start to improvise a little bit on your technique, if you like, and that's when I start turning myself down a little bit because I notice I'm hitting the strings a lot harder.
Much, yeah. Oh, I've got some nice flat wounds on mine, so it's got a real nice, like, double bass sound, which makes it real full. And so, I just really like the tone of my SG because it's nice and warm, and it suits what we do. And especially if I crank up my fuzz, it sounds really mint, like it's punchy.
Wicked. And what amplification are you running on stage?
I've got Eden Time Traveller head and matching tab. I think I've got 2x10.
Okay.
But it's pretty powerful. Like it's quite a nice little compact rig, so I just take it whenever I go playing a pub or whatever. But when we go on tour, we usually just use the backline from other bands and so on.
Yeah, sweet. Well, the sort of music you're ploughing now, look, forgive me here because the closest reference I could come up with was like a Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath thing, but I have no doubt there's a lot of other things going on. I've been listening to the album on and off over the last 2 weeks, but how would you describe the band's sound?
That's a good question. Look, you've definitely hit the nail on the head. We've got the Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath feel to a lot of the songs. But lately we've sort of, with some new songs that we've been testing out, we might be taking them on tour in a couple of weeks. We've got some more blues influenced riffs. So you're going to find a style might be a little bit different to what it started out over, from the beginning. But we still really love that classic rock sound, lots of fuzz, lots of reverb, like it just sounds amazing on stage. So we love that classic sound, but I think a lot of us will have such different musical styles that I think we're finding a bit of a melting pot at the moment. Like Alana, she loves Living End, so she loves all those sort of real crunchy riffs, and I love like lots of jazz and sort of blues, and I like to mess around with bass lines with, to fit with what we're playing. So yeah, it's funny because a lot of us listen to different music. Ama's really into like her 80s White Snake and
Oh, nice.
Kylie's good at listening to new music all the time, so she's always coming into jams and she's like, check out this band and check out that band, and the one that she's mentioning lately, Greta Van Fleet.
Okay, I haven't heard of her. No, what's the what sort of music?
No, it's a band. It's a band of guys from I think they're from Michigan or somewhere, and they're like brothers, and they all get together. They're very Led Zeppelin sounding, but she brought that in one day. She was, showing us all that, and we were checking it all out. So those guys rock, like they just sound awesome. There's a bit of hope that rock and roll is coming back to life with a younger crowd. So we're finding that it seems like there's more interest in our sound than there was, I guess, previously. I don't know, hard to say.
I'm so glad you say that because I certainly feel as though that this is only my experience. I'm 40 years of age, and having been through the grunge revolution, which was really the first movement that I remember getting into first time, when in the 1991, 1992, whatever it was, and then electronica, then electronica coming along, and then rock being dead, and then garage rock like Jet and the Vines being this thing, and then
that's right.
hip hop and urban music becoming the big thing. And I'm really glad that someone that I'm interviewing, because I've done an enormous amount of interviews at this point, I think I'm over 300 at this point, and there seems to be a consensus, especially with US artists, US and British artists in particular. It's really hard to be a rock and roll band. You've got a diehard audience, but in terms of finding new fans, so your comment then is really heartening, actually, that you're getting some of the younger people coming to the gigs and they're responding in kind to the rock and roll that you guys play, because you play that.
Yeah, I think I think either people, like, I know the 90s is all cool at the moment and everyone's loving the grunge, but it's been done, and I think, I know the same for rock, like people will say the same thing, but I feel like there's more renewed interest in it, I guess from the gigs that we've been doing lately. So I think it's also, maybe younger people, their parents grew up listening to this music and or, the sounds that we like. So I guess maybe that's what's bringing people back out from under their rocks. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard, because there's always going to be the different scenes of music. There's always going to be the indie rock and so on. But, I think rock and roll will endure.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does. I think there's nothing quite like a full-on rock band like you guys when the amps are turned up, loud amps in your face, as Jamie Jaster, the podcast.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, it just gets you moving. You sink back a few bevies, and you just feel good about life.
Oh, definitely. I think with anyone, if you're in a local music venue and as soon as you hear a guitar plugged in through an amp, you're drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Like, there's some sort of magic about it that you just can't explain.
What's the response been like to the EP? Has it been what you guys hoped, or is it yet to be released?
It's coming up this week. It's released this, let me think, Friday or Saturday. But we've got our EP launch this actual Saturday. So we've had one single released off the EP, which is called Dark Paradise. And so far we've had some really good responses. We've had some really good reviews. People love it when we play it live. So we're getting some really good feedback. And I think it's one of those songs that when we play it live, it brings that next level of energy for us. We sort of rock out a bit more and throw our hair around. And, you know, we love it all as a band. So we hope that everyone else enjoys it as much as we do.
I noticed that about you guys from the YouTube clips that I've seen. There's a hell of a lot of energy up there on stage. You're a very engaging live performance outfit. So, do you talk about it, or do you all just get up there and just do your thing, and that's what happens up on stage?
No, we do. Yeah, like we just get up and do it. Like we don't talk about like a pre-game plan. We don't go right now. We're just gonna rock out in this song. We just do it.
Yep.
So. But we always end up getting off stage, we're all sweaty and our hair's a mess, but we don't care, like, we sound good. So, yeah, we love it. So I think it's funny because we also pick up off the energy of the crowd. So if the crowd's really into it, it makes us extra amped and we just, you know, have a great time.
Have you ever played in front of virtually nobody? Because I can definitely say that I have, and it's such tough gigs, aren't they?
Oh, they are. Look, I think it happens sometimes that we do a couple of country shows. So even when we've done heaps of promo and local advertising and stuff, you just find you go to some towns and no one goes out. Like, no one goes to a gig. And it is a little bit disheartening, but I guess we all tend to see it as it doesn't matter if there's 5 people in a room or 50 or 100. We just got to have a good time, and we treat it as, you know, it's practice. It's still getting up there and, you know, perfecting what we do.
Yeah, it's a good point. I know I've always found those are the gigs where you pull out a few of the songs that you either don't like playing because somebody always makes a mistake, or they're a song that doesn't quite vibe with all of the members of the band. You know, some songs they're just hard work, aren't they? Even if you've written them yourself.
Oh, I know.
But
yeah, so it's always good to test out some songs that, you know, you just want to give them a go and see how they go. But, I mean, it's not always a bad thing, you know. It's just how you look at it.
Perspective is everything, isn't it? Yeah.
That's right.
So have you got... Actually, I'll ask you this question now. I've spoken to a ton of artists from Perth, obviously, because Lee puts me in contact with so many of the artists that is distributed by Firestarter, and I'm not making it up. All are very, very good. Probably my favourite Australian artists are from Perth. In your view, what's going on over there? Because you've got a bloody strong scene. I mean, live, the bands, they look great when I'm looking at all of the live clips on YouTube. As I say, very engaging. You guys would have to be in about the top 5 rock bands that are treading the boards in Australia at the moment, in my view, based on... I mean, I haven't seen you, of course, but just from what I've seen on the YouTube clips, I mean, as I say, I don't know how else to say it. It's very engaging. You're a band that you'd look forward to going and seeing. You're very entertaining. You know, you look like you put on a really good show. But yeah, I understand the one bit of feedback I've been given is that there's a lot of camaraderie in the Perth scene. People are trying to help each other, and that definitely doesn't happen in some of the other major capitals in Australia. But what's your take on what's happening in Perth musically?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment. I think that, you know, a lot of us in the Perth music scene are friends with other people in other bands, and we've all played in lots of different bands around, so we all kind of really know each other. We're a bit of an extended set of cousins, I guess. I don't know, that might sound wrong, but, you know, it's
that
kind
makes
of,
sense.
You know, yeah, but we all help each other out. Like if there's a gig and we need another band, you know, we'll call our mate in the other band and we'll get their band on board, and you know, so it's really good to have supportive, you know, bands in this side of the country. But in saying that, like, there's always some people like to keep their opportunities to themselves and so on, and that's fair enough. But I think also because we're so isolated, you know, we're not just a short trip to Melbourne, you know, so I think we sort of make the best of what we got here. So that's probably one way I can explain it. Because we're so far away, we all sort of band together a bit more.
Yeah, most isolated major capital in the world. is Perth, and
Yeah, that's right.
you know, and I know we're a connected universe these days, well, maybe not universe, but a connected globe these days. And that I just earlier, about an hour before you talking to yourself, I was talking to a pair of artists from Stuttgart in Germany. And last night, actually this morning, I was talking to a gent from Venezuela who's living in Los Angeles. And last night, I was talking to somebody from Italy who's in Italy. I think he was in Milan, he said. But I guess, sorry, it's a roundabout way of making the point that it does feel like we're a connected globe, but there's still that sense, to your exact point that you made a moment ago, that Melbourne isn't just down the road. You really do have to support each other and turn up to each other's gigs because you're physically isolated.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we try and go to gigs when we're not gigging ourselves. We try and go to friends' gigs when we can.
Yeah. What do you hope this new EP does for you? I mean, the classic statement that I like to make: are you after Metallica or Kiss style world domination, or something a bit more down to earth?
Oh, of course, world domination. That's our game plan. Look, I think we'd be super happy if we can, when we go on our tour, we'll get some new fans and people that really enjoy what we do. We're always scouting for opportunities, looking for a manager and so on. So I think if the right opportunity happens, we're always going to just jump on it. So I think, in a sense, we're all a bunch of go-getters. We're not just going to sit on a bus and wait for something to happen. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. You got to put it out there, haven't you? And do you have a lot of people reaching out to you from further afield than Australia, such as the States and Europe, getting into the band, finding you on YouTube, that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, always. We always get some random comments on our YouTube channel from people in the States or, somewhere in Europe. And, so it's really nice to have people all over the world listening to our songs and, finding that it's not, I guess Australia is a bit of a different scene, but, once we get out there and we play, we get some really good feedback after shows. We get people coming up to us and they always ask us, when we're supporting another band that's touring, they'll say, "You girls from Perth, or where are you from?" Like, they think we're from interstate. And we're like, no, we're local, like we just, from around. And they seem to think that we're on tour with these bands, and we're not. So it's a great compliment because they think that we're good enough to be on tour with the touring bands that we play with.
Yeah, well, you've got a few dates coming up. I'm just noticing here. I think I've got this right. So you've got it's definitely your 2018 EP tour. So you're playing Perth, Adelaide, Sydney, Wollongong, but you're missing us out. What happened?
I know. Oh, look, I'd love to get up there, but I think we're going to end up doing that as a separate trip. So we're going to come back and do a couple of days. I mean, what do you recommend in what order? How many places should we get to in, say, 3 days?
I'm basically spread between the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast. So for people who are listening who don't know where that is, okay, so Gold Coast is where it is. The Sunshine is a bit south of Brisbane, I should say, sorry. But Sunshine Coast is about a bit further north from how far the Gold Coast is south of Brisbane. I think there's a lot of value in hitting all three. Okay, so we're very, very lucky in Brisbane to have the Fortitude Valley Entertainment Precinct. Very fortunate, because I think we're the only city in Australia to have that. Yeah, look, you'd love it. Don't listen to the media's.
We'll give you a call.
Yeah, do it, seriously. I mean, look, if I can, I say it to a lot of bands in Perth, if I can help out in any way. I mean, look, Lee's very good as well. Lee Oliver, who hooked us up. There are people out there. Are people here that want bands to succeed just for the sake of wanting bands to succeed. Don't have any skin in the game outside of that. You know what I'm saying? So, Brisbane's got it going on. There's a lovely venue over at Kenmore called Retro Bar. And apologies to the younger listeners, but tends to get a bit more of a mature crowd, and because I'm 40 and I'm probably approaching that age, wanting to sit down and watch a band but occasionally get up and rock out, it's an awesome venue for that. Really, feels like a living room, But you can't really beat the Valley for energy, okay? But a lot of the kids, when they go out, the 18, 19, 20, so up to 25, shouldn't really call them kids, but you know what my point is, they don't like to spend a lot of cash when they're actually getting into the venue, but God, they'll have enough money to go and get blasted on alcohol. So I'm
yeah.
yet to sort of get my head around that part of it. You know, $10 cover charge? No, won't pay that. I don't really understand that, to be honest. But
Yeah.
they'll go spend $10 on a craft beer.
Oh, that's what happens here. The same thing that happens here.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I mean, it's I think they think that because they're buying the beer that they should be able to get in for free. But then the bands don't get paid because the venues don't pay the bands unless there's a cover charge.
Yeah.
That's just the way the world works. It's not perfect. Yeah. But look,
All right,
Sunshine Coast.
we'll definitely have to check it out. We'll come over and we'll do a little trip. We'll catch up with you in person or something.
Yeah, no, I'd love it. Yeah, awesome band. You know, you've got a lot going for you. I just really hope that as many people you can reach as you deserve to. You genuinely deserve to, because it's music that I'd love to see bands like you on. I know it's not called Letterman anymore, but you know those late night talk shows in the States that a few of the Australian bands are managing to get onto.
Oh, Jimmy. What's
Fallon.
his name?
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Amy Shark was on Jimmy Fallon recently.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and I thought that was
Gold Coast girl. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful accomplishment. Never met her, but you know, I'm supportive of every Aussie artist who's got ambition like what she does and like what you guys do. So, I mean, there's obviously a conduit or a pathway to being able to do it, and she's not exactly a known name in the US, so it's entirely feasible it could happen for you. You know.
Let's hope.
All right. So if people want to get into your music, so you've got your Facebook page, tell us how else they can do it. So iTunes, Spotify, that sort of thing?
Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music. You can come buy our CDs. We'll mail one to you. So even if you just email us on the Facebook page, we can definitely just, send them out wherever they go. We send out CDs to the States all the time. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, so any way that's digitally possible, you'll find our music as well.
Wonderful. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for the chat, Erin. It's been wonderful, and
no worries.
Good luck with the tour that you're about to kick off and the launch of the excellent EP.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was my conversation with Erin Gooden. She's the bass guitarist in a band from Perth called Legs Electric. Thank you so much for listening.